This is my #1 favorite clarinet ligature, and in my opinion also the best clarinet ligature on the market. We will speak about it today. We will look at the pros, because I don't think it has any cons, and we will have a little sound test so that you can see what it sounds like. So since I'm a professional clarinetist and I have been playing the clarinet since around 20 years now, I've come across almost every ligature on the market, and I found myself always coming back to this one. It's the Rovner MKIII ligature. So I've went to metal ligatures, to leather ligatures, to rope imitating ligatures. So I've tried it all, and I always went back to this one, and we will speak about why right now. So this ligature is actually from a synthetic material. So it's not from leather, it's not from metal, so it's actually a kind of a rubber. So it's really, really durable, which is pretty cool. So this ligature doesn't break. So maybe after 2 years or so, it will lose its form a little bit, and then you will need a new one, which I did right now. I bought myself a new one during Christmas, because this one lost its shape, and we will speak about the shape in just a bit. But yeah, once it loses its shape, you will need to buy a new one, because the most important thing about the ligature is the shape it has. So the shape of this ligature is what makes it so stable, and I will show you why. Okay, so this is a kind of a V shape, so it's not round. This ligature is not meant to be round because it wants to press onto the reed just at the sides and not at the middle. As you see, in the middle, it's not pressing onto the ligature at all, just on the sides. And what this does is it forces the reed to warp with the sides onto the table of the mouthpiece, which I find very important. When the reed gets in contact with moisture, it wants to warp. So this is just what the reed does. Once your saliva touches the reed, once you soak your reed in water, if this is what you like to do with your reeds, like once you start playing, then what will happen is the reed will want to warp a certain direction. With this ligature now, once you put it on really, really tight, you force the reed to warp a certain way, which is the preferable way. It forces the rails of the reed, I don't know if it's called the rails of the reed, but the sides of the reed, to be in contact with the mouthpiece. And then the middle of the reed might warp a little bit, which is fine. We can correct this with the reed geek later. But the most important thing is that the sides of the reed lie perfectly flat on the mouthpiece, and that there's no mismatch there, that it's just a ligament together with the mouthpiece. And this is something this ligature does really, really well. If the sides of the reed are pressed firmly against the mouthpiece, in my opinion, this leads to a lot of stability while playing. So it leads to a very stable sound, a very round sound as well. And so what I noticed is much less squeaks and less issues, less airiness, because it's such a stable way of putting the reed onto the mouthpiece. And this is also the way I use this ligature. So with this ligature, I don't put it on loosely to increase the vibrations of the reed as much as possible. What I do is, before a rehearsal, I screw it on really, really tight to the max, and then I do nothing to the reed for the entire rehearsal, so that the reed can actually form a bond together with the mouthpiece in the preferable way for the reed, which is with the sides of the reed towards the mouthpiece. And yeah, so the cool thing about this ligature is you will end up with better reeds. So if you do this technique like me, which is to put the reeds on, screw it on really tight, and then play on them for an hour or two without moving them away from the mouthpiece, the reeds get much better. So a medium quality reed might actually merge into a really good reed, because it takes kind of the shape of the mouthpiece and it really like adapts to your mouthpiece. So let's start with a little sound test of this specific ligature. Yeah, let's see what it sounds like. So as you see, it's a warm sound and a round sound and a quite resonant sound. So this is what I really like. I don't need anything that is more brighter or more projecting, or metal that is cryogenically modified to bring out more nuances in your overtones. I just want as much stability as possible. By the way, complete control is also what I will teach you in the 10-week transformation together with me. Check the link down in the description if you would be interested in doing that. If the ligature is a bit older, so I will show you why I changed to the new ligature. I will not move the reed at all from the place, but what I will do is I will play you the old ligature, and you see the shape is much more pronounced with the newer ligature. So if it's still in the form, the V shape here is much stronger. And with the older one, that is a little bit broken already, the V shape is not as strong, and it does a little difference in sound. So I can show you this here. Yeah, so it's not a big difference in sound, but I feel it's a little bit more resistant and less resonant and less round. So if you take the new one, it's just from the feeling wise, it feels more stable, more coreful, the sound, and a little bit more round. Maybe also a little bit more shiny. Now in the sound test, let's test the articulation. And yeah, now also a little bit the colors, the lyricality of the ligature. Let's see. The ligature doesn't really create the colors. So the colors you can create because the ligature is so stable. So this is basically almost the only thing that I'm looking for in a ligature. I want it to be as reliable as possible and as stable as possible. And in the end, you create your sound with clarinet technique and not with your ligature. I hardly ever noticed the change of another clarinetist's ligature. But obviously you notice if the other person is stable or not. So this is what I would suggest that you do as well. So if you would like to play the same ligature as me, go to the link down in the description. I listed where you can buy it at Thomann. It's pretty cheap, something above $30, $40. Go get it for yourself and go get yourself some extra stability with this really nice ligature.